about SMEs and what we're doing to grow SMEs in Ghana. Good morning again, and thanks for joining us. We're excited to have you here. Today, we're going to have a very interesting topic. We're talking about promoting gender inclusivity and empowering women-led SMEs in Ghana. We have an amazing guest joining us today for the session, and I trust that you're going to have a wonderful time together looking at the women SME in Ghana. Now, women in Ghana are increasingly taking entrepreneurial roles and leading various SMEs across various sectors of the economy. And these things that they are doing are helping to grow the economy. Now, according to the World Bank, women make up 46% of Ghana's labor force. 46% of Ghana's labor force is made up of women, according to the World Bank. And this is a significant proportion of women are engaged in the SME space. Now, again, according to the MasterCard Index on Women Entrepreneurs that was done in 2019, it ranked Ghana as the top African country for women entrepreneurs. And so it tells you that the topic we're going to discuss this morning is very important because of the 46% of women that are engaged in the labor force, a good number of them are entrepreneurs, and they're leading the pack in Africa. Now, despite the women-led SMEs in Ghana, despite these factors or the progress that we have made, women-led SMEs still face some challenges, such as limited access to finance, inadequate business training, mentorship, and cultural barriers. We're hoping to break some barriers today. We're going to get some education coming in today. Now, the government of Ghana have put in some interventions to support, but we do know that the private sector, they say, is the engine of growth, and therefore, what is UBA doing to help grow this sector? And we're going to share some light with you on that. The then National Board for Small Scale Industries, now the Ghana Enterprises Agency, have during the COVID period, we saw the interventions they put in place to support women businesses and to help them to grow. Here in UBA, through our interventions in the SME desk and through our sustainability and programs, we have been supporting SMEs and we help them to grow. But we have an amazing guest this morning who's going to help us to go through the conversations around women-led SMEs and how we can empower more women in SMEs to get to be inclusive in what we are doing to drive this. Our guest, ladies and gentlemen, this morning is no other than the CEO of Reflow Company Limited, Rebecca Ostram, who's a dynamic entrepreneur and a visionary leader. She's got backgrounds that are deeply rooted in the performing arts. Her journey started in the UK, where she immersed herself in acting, singing, modeling, and collaborating with various agencies and companies. Now, today, she's back in her homeland, Ghana, and doing an amazing stuff with Reflow. Rebecca, good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's an amazing story you have there, looking at where you started off from in the creative art space and then moving into entrepreneurship. I mean, what happened? I mean, how did you get into this whole entrepreneurial business? You're doing just fine in the performing arts.
Well, I did start in performing arts, and that was my passion growing up, and it was everything that I wanted to do. But as life goes, being a female Black actress, the roles at that time were very limited. So money was not enough in that field at that time. So I decided in my late 20s that I wanted to be financially secure, and I had to come up with a plan of how I was going to do that. So I decided I started coming home to Ghana for holidays, as you do. And I realized there were lots of opportunities here in Ghana. So I decided to start my business, my company, Reflow Company Limited. And I found out that diapers were a good business. So I realized that at that time, there was a gap in the market for pull-up diapers. There were lots of normal tape diapers, and there were not many pull-up diapers in the system. So I started my first product, which was Reflow's pull-up diapers, and I decided to not just make any old diapers. It's very important to me that every product that I make, I'm able to use myself. So I wouldn't want to make a product that would give babies rashes and things like that. I think very ethically. So I wanted to make something that was of good quality, premium quality for babies to use. And I had a lot of challenges, obviously, when, like anybody starting a new business. Um, I was duped many times that almost broke my business down totally. So major challenges are always going to happen whenever you're starting a business, whether you are a man or a woman. You have to expect that challenges will come. But I kept going, and I just have this tenacious energy where if I want something, I go after it. So no matter what happened, I was screwed over by so many people here, and I got to the point where it looked like the end. But I kept going, and I was able to get back on my feet. And as a woman as well, and also being from growing up in the West, a lot of people are here to also. You have to expect that some people are going to be there to try to take advantage of you. When you're a woman as well, I think you're more susceptible to those situations. So I think it happened to me a lot, and I would expect that it would happen to other women as well. So I would advise, for example, that if you're a woman and you're starting a business or anything that you're doing in that field, you have to be very vigilant. Um, because there are sharks out there who are ready to take advantage of you, and if you're not um, very vigilant, you will be in very big trouble. So but you have to take these experiences as lessons because you need them in any business. I think you have to fall down, you have to lose money, you have to learn how not to do things. So as long as you're fortunate enough to be able to keep getting up and keep continuing what you're doing, then you're at least in the direction of being successful. But you cannot give up. It's going to be difficult. Nothing worth having is easy. I always say that.
Amazing.
So yeah, you have to always keep
Amazing.
going. You have to expect that you're going to fall, and you just have to have that resistance. You know what I mean? You have to be resistant to all the bad stuff that's going to be thrown at you. But I think it would be nice if women can get more help from the government, and also maybe if they could give us some sort of incentives, tax incentives, or tax breaks or something like that, something to support us. Maybe they could have some sort of funding for women, to encourage them to start small businesses themselves. That would also be helpful. And women also, things like mentorship, like you said earlier, also helps. When you listen and read up about women who have made it and how they did it, that also helps as well. Having role models that can pave the way for you, that also will help women as well. And but even though I said it'd be nice for the government to help us, I wouldn't encourage women to sit down and wait for that day to happen. I believe in doing things for yourself. One thing my mum always taught me is that you have nobody, whether it's your mother, your cousin, your friend, you have nobody. Live your life as if it's just yourself. So if you're going after something that you want to do in business, there's no point in waiting around for the government to give you a tax break for you to start or funding. You need to push yourself and find, be very dynamic and be very resourceful and find ways of making money. If you can't get a loan from the bank, I mean, I wouldn't advise everybody to go for a loan at the bank straight away, because the worst thing to start your business is to be in a whole load of debt. And the banks also can sometimes give you a lot of interest, which will also set you back. So try your best. I would say if you start your business, try your best to get maybe some funding from your friends or family or affluent people that who can support you in that way. First of all, to start. And also it's also important to start small. If you don't have the funding, start small. You can raise maybe a few thousand cedis and start something small, and that will grow. And you keep pushing, that will grow bit by bit. I think it's also important to have good people that you hire. Even if you hire one person, make sure that person is trustworthy, is hardworking, understands your vision, and is ready to go the mile with you. It's very important. If you choose the wrong people, I've done that before, and it almost led to the crash of my business. So you have to be very careful about the people that you choose to work with. It's also very, very important as well. You need to have a clear vision about what you want to do. If you don't have a clear vision, you will not know the road that you need to go down to get to where you want to be. So I would say that women have great skills when it comes to multitasking. And I think, in a world that is very masculine, very man dominated, we can use our strengths, that we have, which is multitasking, being able to organize, things like that, to further ourselves ahead. And we have to fight our way in. Thank God that you said that 46% of the workforce is what is in Ghana here. I didn't even realize that till today. So that's very positive. That's really good. I know that Ghanaian women are very hardworking. That I know. So I think we need to encourage more women to excel in the business world. I think it would help the country, and I think it's something that we need to all try our best to support all the women that are trying to do that, to become entrepreneurs, to do so. But yeah. Well, the last thing I would say is, like I said, in a male-dominated business world, we have to push our way in and be dynamic, be original, try our best to think outside the box.
Okay, so you're still on the UBA Ghana Business Series. Thank you for joining us. Drop your questions ahead for Rebecca. We're going to answer all your questions. Send them to us on our chat on the feeds, either on Facebook or YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and we will bring your questions to Rebecca. So, Rebecca, let's go through the story of Reflow. I mean, it started 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You spoke about some of the initial challenges, being duped here and there. What for you gave you the idea to go into this this business of all other businesses? Yes, of course I understand you're a woman, but something must have moved you. What was the idea? How did the idea drop to you, and what did you do to begin this journey?
I realized when I was coming back here on holiday that there were lots of opportunities going on here. A lot of people were making great strides, and there were a lot of untapped opportunities. In the West, there are lots of things that have been saturated. A lot of businesses have been saturated over there. So there are lots of things I saw here that were not here. So I realized that, I could bring some of the things that I know from there and bring it over here. And I was trying to find a business to do that was lucrative, and I was told that, diapers are a great business. So I decided to look for the niche at that time, which was pull-up diapers. As I said, so pull-up diapers are, at that time, were not very popular. So I decided to be known for making the best pull-up diapers in Ghana. And then I decided to create the Reflow's pull-up diapers, which were, at that time, and even today, the best diaper that you could buy in Ghana. They are, I made sure not to. The thing is, a lot of people I feel that I've spoken to will tell me that, oh, you need to just think about profits. But that's not true. I think if you only think about profits, you'll make money for a short time, and that's not good enough for me. Longevity is important. So I wanted to do something that would last decades and decades, more of a legacy type of business. So I wouldn't encourage people just to think about the money or think about profits. You have to think about what you stand for, what your brand represents, what you aim to achieve, what you want to give out to your customers, what is the niche, what is the unique selling point of your brand or whatever business you're trying to do, so that you'll stand out. Otherwise, you'll end up being just like everybody else who's doing exactly the same thing. And then why would somebody come and purchase your products or use your service over somebody else's? So that's important.
Okay, so we're not driven by profit, but it's an important fact of conversation when we talk about entrepreneurship, because we want to make money, and we don't know of other opportunities that are available. But when you started, in your earlier opening comments, you spoke about hiring people you trust and all of that. And for you coming from like we're saying, Ghana, coming from Obiman, so not knowing much about here and all of that. How did you find trustworthy people that you could connect with to help you drive this business?
I think I was very naive at that time. When you have to remember, I was kind of a fish out of water in a way. So me coming over here, I would have been very susceptible to people taking advantage. But you find people that you think you can trust, and you have to be very vigilant about what people say and what they do. So when you choose people to work for you, you need to see results. You need to when you task something to someone, make sure that they've gone the extra mile. If you say, okay, go and find out this for me, see how far they're going to go to bring you a whole picture of something, not just and not just someone who's going to tell you they're going to do this and then not do that. So you have to really be um, very careful who you're choosing. But I think the lesson that I had, which was great, was that I always look at everything in a positive way. So even if you have bad experiences, they're always positive in the end, because they'll teach you what not to do tomorrow. So if you find yourself attracting people that you cannot trust, then you need to figure out what you're doing wrong, and look for the qualities of honesty. Honesty is key when you're hiring people. Honesty, transparency. Without that, one tiny decision or one move can bring everything, all your hard work down. So I can't stress on that enough. Finding trustworthy people to work with.
So, as a woman, what would you say are some of the peculiar challenges to women? We do know that entrepreneurs will face some challenges and difficulties, but what would you say are peculiar challenges of women, or for you as a woman going into business or starting up something new for yourself?
I think I don't focus too much on challenges or what people
Mm.
say might be difficult. If you decided that this is what you want to do as a woman, then be positive about it and go in there knowing that you're going to win, knowing that you're going to be successful. Whether you're a woman or not, I don't think you should focus on being a woman. That's what I don't. I don't focus on the fact that I'm a woman. I focus on the fact that I'm a person who wants to be successful in a business. So, as a woman, of course, there will be certain things you will have to go up against. For example, in a male-dominated field, you may get some men who will not take you seriously, and sometimes they will hold the keys to opportunities. So you have to carry yourself in a way that is very respectable. You have to, lay down your boundaries. Men don't have to do that, when they're dealing with other business counterparts, but women, unfortunately, because we are women, you have to draw boundaries, certain boundaries, so that you can be taken seriously. And your actions have to speak as loud as your words. And you have to also show working, as they say here, right? So if you're saying you're going to do a business and you're doing this, you're doing that, make sure you have been doing those things. Make sure you have a portfolio to show. Make sure you have a history of a lot of things that you have been doing, all the effort you've been putting in. That's how you'll be taken seriously. And there are some women who feel like maybe if you look pretty enough, someone will, and I wouldn't advise that that's the way to go. Because if that's the way you think it's going to go, then again, you will not be taken seriously. And when the time comes, when it's crunch time, when it's time to really show working, you will not be respected, and the opportunities will not come.
Okay, you're still live on the UBA Ghana Business Series. I'd like to welcome your questions and comments. Send them ahead, and Rebecca is ever ready to talk to you. Our guest this morning is the founder and CEO of Reflow Company Limited, and we're talking about promoting gender inclusivity and empowering women-owned SMEs in Ghana. Remember, we're still in the Women's Month, and also happens to be our Heritage Month for us as Ghana. We want to use all the opportunity we can to celebrate our women and drive inclusivity in the things we do. But how can you use the experience that you went through? And of course, I do know you don't want to focus on the challenges, but so I call them as experiences. How did you
Okay.
overcome those challenges, and how would you advise women going into business today to be conscious of what should they take note of so that they do not fall in the same pitfall that you had?
Well, as a woman, I think you have to be. I overcame my challenges by, first of all, not giving up. Everything that comes on, whenever I have a day where things go down or things don't go well or a challenge presents itself, I wake up the next day with more fight in me. You have to always look at the end before the beginning. So let that picture of whatever you envision in your business at the end be what pushes you. And you need to look out for sharks. You need to look out for people with their own interest who are around you who think you're just a woman and who feel they can maybe manipulate you, or there are also men who may come who might want to use you as a crutch or a stepping stone for them to get somewhere for themselves, because they feel like you're just a woman. They might try to overpower you, or try to influence you in a way that you might not feel is appropriate. You might also feel you might be diverted even on course because somebody feels like they know better, or because they're a man, or they've had more experience in the business field or something. You have to trust your gut. So you have to know what your vision is, and you have to stay strong in that vision, so that no matter what the challenges are, no matter what whoever comes in to try to infiltrate your mind and try to give you a different idea of where you need to go, you need to stay strong in your vision, and stay strong and stand firm always. As a woman, you have to always be standing firm. You always have to have your boundaries up, your walls up. You have to be ready to be hard. As we are feminine, but we're in a man's field, so we have to be as hard as them in a way. So I would say to women to always stand firm and trust your gut and do what you feel is right always. No matter what advice you get, always go within and take and go with what you feel is right. Because we do have instincts as women, and we're known for being beings that have a lot of intuition. So I think we should always go with that, and that will always lead us down the right path.
So, Rebecca, what are the ways by which you think that we can empower women, can empower more women to go into SMEs? How do we grow the number from 46 to 60% and getting more women into the workforce and driving more women inclusivity in the workforce and creating more SMEs, creating more local business that become global?
I think what you're doing, for example, this today is helpful. Going to universities, talking to young girls who are coming out. I just did an event on Saturday where I went to speak to some graduates about, how to face the world as a woman beyond your degree. Apart from that, also whether it's other women who are doing well should try to also hire more women. Men should also be encouraged to hire more women. We need to, if the reason why a lot of men tend to have the opportunity to start businesses is because of financial muscle, usually, because women have been working for years in the field, and I think if more women start working early, they'll be able to understand the business world a little bit earlier in life, and also be able to gather some funds to be able to start something small themselves. But things like this, seminars, speeches that we can give, mentorship, online courses, just encouraging women to push themselves and to add value to themselves by learning new things, and supporting them any way we can financially if possible. Setting up, maybe a women's commission or something like that, where maybe we get donations to help women to start small businesses, or giving them a skill to acquire. If they acquire skills, maybe they can turn that into a business as well. So anything we can do in those fields will encourage that. And I think we need to also, I'm starting to feel a bit, since I've been here, that there are groups of people. Obviously, in every country, we have a class system. But I feel like there's a lot of potential untapped potential in, let's say, the lower class of women. And I think they also need some help they have aspirations as well. And I'm sure they're also hardworking. I think we should spend time sort of encouraging these girls and grooming them also to become great women themselves.
All right, thank you very much. But I did mention the funding has been, a lot of talk about funding and providing funds. And from your beginning opening statement, you talk about how we can help, we can get government to support women as one of the ways. Of course, UB in our own is also supporting women by offering discounts and offering discounted loans to women-led SMEs, etc. But would you know of other opportunities out there for women and what they can do, or how do they begin to build up capital or provide the kind of funding to start up their businesses?
I think if you have nothing, sorry, if you're struggling and you don't have money, um, there are ways. I believe that everything is about energy. You cannot sit down and say that I want to start my own business and you're not doing anything about it. You have to help yourself. So if you don't have money, find a way to get a job for 3 months if you have to and save 1,500 cities. That 1,500 cities, you have to find a way to turn that into 3,000 cities. Maybe you can sell. I think a lot of women are selling clothes online. They're doing, beauty stuff. You need to find a way, even if it's small, to just get some capital yourself. And as you are doing that, you'll meet people. You'll, in the meantime, you need to also be honing in your skills, learning new things. YouTube is there. I got my first investment because I was able to write a business plan. I had no idea how to write a business plan. I went online on YouTube and figured out how to write a business plan. And that is how I was able to get my funding. So, and I was using my own money at that time, but I had to do my
I mean,
part.
if you say that you're coming from a privileged position, I mean, if you came down with pounds, if you came down with some pounds and you melted them into CDs, that's a lot of money for you to start, right?
No, not at all. I wouldn't put it that way. I think if you put it that way, that's discouraging because in any currency, it doesn't matter. If you have 1,500 cities, you can turn that into something. It's not about turning 1,500 cities into 1,000,000 cities. You have to think about turning 1,500 cities into 3,000. Then you turn that into 4,000. Then you turn that into 5,000. It builds. And then as you're going, opportunities will also come. It's about energy. So if you're getting up every day and you're doing something towards it, you're networking, you're talking to people, you're trying to find new ways. As soon as you get that 4,500, maybe you'll take 1,500, you go do something else. You have to keep going. You can't sit down and wait for someone to say, oh, here's 1,000,000 cities to start your business. That's not going to get you anywhere. You have to do everything yourself as much as you can. You have to push yourself as far as possible. And the opportunities will come along the way, I'm telling you. That's how it goes. It's energy. So you have to put in what you can every day. And as time goes on, an opportunity will meet your preparation, which is what some people call luck, right? They say you're lucky. You're not lucky. You've been plugging away for a very long time. And as you keep going and plugging yourself away after a very long time, you'll meet someone, you'll do this, you'll talk to that person will say, oh, I know this person. Do you want to, that's how it goes. So if you're not out there doing something, nothing's going to come to you. So you have to start small. Starting small, there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
It's actually, as long as you start, that's what's important.
Absolutely. So having lived and worked in the UK and then coming into Ghana, do you think that cultural difference or there are cultural challenges that hinder women from going into business, starting up their businesses?
I think so, yes. I know a case, for example, of a woman who is brilliant, very brilliant woman. She's tried to start a lot of things before. She's been doing, well, then things will fail for her. But she's been held back because she's married. And, so sometimes some cultural differences, in the home sometimes can be that way. And also, women, it's not easy for us, especially from this side of the world. We're told that we must be married by a certain age, we must have children by a certain age and all that. So those things can hinder you, but I don't believe that if you want something bad enough, you really want it, I don't think that those things should stop you. And I know it's easy for me to say, but if you really want something, you have to keep pushing, whether you're married or have children. If you really want it, I always encourage women, no matter your situation, if there's something that you want, you're not just a woman, you're a human being. So we're human beings first before our gender. So if you're a man and you have aspirations, we're women, we have aspirations too. So just because I get married and I have children doesn't mean I have to give up on my dreams or my aspirations. I don't think that's fair. So I think no matter the cultural differences, if you're a woman and you want to do for yourself, and I think doing for yourself, I believe in women being independent. So doing for yourself is important because it gives you choices in life. You may be in a marriage that you're being abused, let's say, but because you don't have independence, you might stay there and not better your life or your children's lives. So I think you need to look beyond the cultural situations, and if you do have aspirations, I would say go for it, regardless.
Okay. Keep your questions coming in. Drop your comments in the comment section, and we'll bring them to you. Thank you very much, Belinda. I see you. Thank you, Yvonne Kwashi, I see you in the comment section. Keep them coming in, and then we'll bring your questions to the facilitator Rebecca to discuss it. Now, Rebecca, we've discussed a number of barriers and stuff. Do you think that we need specific policy intervention from the government to help drive more women to go into SMEs or to start more businesses?
That would be great. Yes, of course. Whether that would happen or not, I don't know. But it would help if we could get policies in there, like let's say, if you're a corporation or a company, you should maybe hire 50% of women or something. Maybe it should be a policy like that, so that we can get more women getting jobs, and certain policies as well about harassment in the workplace and things like that. I do hear stories about women who have to sleep with men to get job roles and things like that. So I think we should enforce those kind of policies a lot more, and that would also increase the workforce number from 46 to higher.
Okay, so why do you think that financial institutions like UBA and investors, for that matter, should consider putting money into women-led SMEs in Ghana? What's the drive?
I think women are great leaders. Women are very resourceful. If you look at the market women, look at the market women. Some of these market women have a lot of money. They work very, very hard. They're not in suits sitting in an office, but they are working very hard. They see where the business opportunities are. They're very shrewd businesswomen. I've dealt with some of them. And if you they say, there was that saying, you nurture a woman and she'll feed the 1,000 or something like that. So it's women are able to nurture. So they multitask. They're very resilient. They can be very hardworking. So I think if more women have more businesses, the country will thrive a lot more than it is. I'm a woman, and I bet on myself, and I've hired a lot of women who are strong. They're hardworking. They're visionaries themselves. So I think we need to stop with the gender issues and just see everybody as an individual. Whether you're a man or woman doesn't matter. You're an individual. But more women have had to claw their way up, and it's sad. A lot of women get taken advantage of because they want opportunities, and it's not right. Women should be treated equally in that way.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. You're still live on the UBA Ghana Business Series, and we encourage you to keep your questions coming in, and we will bring them to you. Yvonne says that I love that. There's nothing wrong with starting small. I see you, Theodora, on the chat. Theodora Kosa, you're there. Amenya says great performance. Theodora comes back again to say, well done, UBA. You're always uncomfortable steps ahead of competition. Thank you very much for that commendation. Yvonne is back with a question and says that, Rebecca, do you think that we focus too much on the external challenges? Granted, these exist, but do you think we overthink them, and does that affect our ability to thrive in business?
100%. I agree. I would say 100%. That's what I was saying. I don't focus on challenges and those things. External issues are always going to be there. But I always say that you only have control over yourself. You only have control over you and what you do. So you can't control what happens outside of you or your close environment. So as you step outside the house, you need to be prepared. You need to be knowing what you want to do. You need to focus on what you're trying to do and focus on yourself, what you're doing, and control the small environment within yourself that you can control. External challenges are going to come in. Just know that and be as prepared as you can be. That's what you can do. But focusing on what might happen in a bad way, or how well it's not going to go and all that, it's not going to help you. And those things are actually going to stop you from even getting started in the first place. So think positively. The power of thinking positively is, I can't stress on that enough. The world is going to give you what you feel yourself. So if you are focusing on negativity or challenges that are going to come your way, they will come. And because you're already even anticipating it, why would you even be motivated to start? You have to focus on how great it's going to be. Today's going to be a great day because I'm stepping one more step towards that end vision, that end goal that I have. So once you have that in your mind, When the external issues come in, you go, okay, this is just something I have to figure out on my way to where I'm going. So you figure it out. If it brings you down a little bit, no problem. But you have to keep pushing yourself and keep on focusing on that end goal. The end vision is what you have to focus on every single day. And don't pay too much attention to those external challenges. As they come, you're strong. You can deal with it. And the reason why you'll get there is because you can deal with these issues. You will not get there if you cannot deal with it. So just be prepared. Be prepared as much as you can so that you're able to face the challenges even better.
Okay, thank you. Adebola says, I've trained a woman and you are training the nation. Wow, interesting. Thank you very much, Adebola, for that. Rebecca, so let's look at some capacity building and skills development issues. What skills or training programs do you think are essential for women enterprises to succeed in running and scaling their business? Scaling is important. Often we're able to start, but how to scale up and get into new markets are important. What do you think are some of the skills or training programs that we ought to put in place for these businesses?
I think that it goes from, there are so many things you can do with that. So I think with scaling your business, I think you have to think about budgeting. Obviously, when you have whatever funds you have, budgeting is very important. So you have to budget very well. I would advise that you budget ahead of time. So if you're in a situation where you have your enough capital to plan enough for, let's say, 1 year or 3 months or 6 months, however long you can do so, try to think of your business a bit more long term. So no matter how much funds that you've got going on, you have to at least plan for the next 3 months, at least. If you're able to do that, then you have a plan and you know that you have a future for the next 3 months or 6 months if you're fortunate. So I think that is very important. Forecasting is very, very important when it comes to your business. And then I would say, again, choosing good employees, people who are hardworking, who see your vision. They have to love what they do. I don't when I hire people, I don't hire people based on the degrees they've got or anything like that. I do look at the experience, that's important. But I love people with passion. If you have a degree, that doesn't serve me in my company that well. What will serve me is how dedicated you are, how hardworking you are, how much you want it. What do you see for yourself? How far do you want to go? Do you see my vision? Do you believe it? Those things are what I look at when I'm hiring somebody. So passion. Hire people with passion for what they do. Passion will always drive you, even when things are on the floor and things are not going well. Passion will get you up in the morning. So hire people with passion, and have a clear vision of where you want to go. So all these things will help you to get your business to a different level. So I think those three things, and then also your people skills. You have to be able to communicate very, very well. That will serve you very well. A woman. One thing we do have is, we are feminine and we are pretty and all those things. You can use those things to your advantage without pushing the boundaries. You can still remain respectful, but be smiley, communicate well, laugh, talk to people, engage with people. That's how you network. You network with people. Be confident. Even if you're not confident, fake it. People will never know you're not confident until you tell them or you show them. So I always say that. So make sure you are always confident. And you push yourself and always think about how you can get to the next level, and always be pushing yourself so that you can have your workers do the work so that you can focus on where you're going. You can focus on where you take the business to next. So I think that would be the best way to scale your business.
Yeah. A good time for us to recap and say you are live on the UBA Ghana Business Series. We are discussing empowering gender inclusivity, promoting gender inclusivity and empowering women-led SMEs in Ghana. And that brings me to the question from Leader. How can female entrepreneurs like yourself promote inclusion within your business?
Well, I've actually made it my mission to employ from when I started. My company is all about women empowerment. I've made products that are the absolute best you can buy. So the Reflows products out there, if you go and try them, you'll see that they are absolutely premium quality, amazing premium quality. And I made that to empower the women who are in the country. So therefore, if I'm talking about women empowerment, I must also empower the women that I can. So I've made it my mission to hire more women in my company I don't want to be discriminating against
Which
men.
means you're cutting us out of the
No,
business.
no, 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 no,
So
no, no. I'm not
inclusivity
discriminating
is more
against
about
men.
the
Like I
women and
said,
leaving out the men.
you cut me off before I finished. I was saying I'm not discriminating against men, but men have a lot of opportunities, and I have a lot of men who do work for me. I'm just saying that I've made it my mission to hire more women whenever I can, because I believe that women should be empowered, and women do have the skills. Women do have, what it takes, and sometimes even more than some men. So. Apart from that, also, I'm trying to get myself involved in programs and, to make sure that we can include more women and get women more motivated. Even I partnered with the Florence Mensa Foundation. We've been donating to school kids in underprivileged areas so that they can actually go to school. We're doing a project at the moment to give 1,000 girls in the rural areas sanitary pads for a whole year, because they've been missing out on school for a whole week at a time whenever they have their menses, and they call it menses, their menstrual time. So we are empowering them in that way, so that I'm looking at the future. We've also heard that there's some of the children that we've been donating to have actually been attending school. They've been coming to school. That made my day. Those girls will be able to then attend school, and they might be brilliant. They might be brilliant women of tomorrow. So that's what I'm doing to contribute. But I hope I can do more seminars like this, more. I will do anything I can to make sure that I've contributed positively to women being empowered and being included when it comes to business.
Keep your questions coming in, and then Rebecca is poised to deal with all your questions. Now, Kate Boachi, thank you very much, says that UBA, the reliable bank in the universe. Oh, wow, that's a big one for us there. Thank you, Kate, for that comment. Now, Yvonne is back again. Yvonne is really on fire. Yvonne is back again with another question. She says that I always wonder how you know what business would be successful. I see some women trying to do many things at the same time. Do you think that's safer to increase business survival?
I would say that you have to go with your instincts when it comes to these things. You can go about it in different ways, but this is how I would advise. You can. A lot of people can go into business thinking, okay, this is what's going to make the most revenue, so I'm going to do that. I wouldn't say 100% to go with just that mindset, because it's going to be so difficult that if you don't have the passion for it, you'll give up. Just because it's the revenue, when you look at the numbers that this business is going to be more lucrative, is not enough to start a business, because you will fall and give up. So you need to make sure that apart from the business being successful, let's say if you look at this type of business is going to be lucrative, make sure you have enough of a passion for it, and make sure you've done your research. Make sure it's something that you really see yourself doing day in, day out. Because if you're doing multiple businesses just for the sake of making money, you'll end up spending money in all these different areas, and then nothing will be fruitful. So I would say find something that is either a solution to a problem, so something that you see that is missing, or something that you're really, really passionate about, something that you can see the vision of it being successful. You can see how it's going to turn out. You can see that, okay, no matter what happens, no matter the challenges, I can see that I can make this happen. Without having that vision and having that passion, the challenges will make you give up. So I wouldn't just say that you just do a business for the sake of making money. It's not enough.
Okay, so let's take another question from Yvonne, and then Isinam. Thank you. I see you also online. Thank you for joining us. Yvonne says, "What's your take on female businesswomen being absolutely difficult to work with? Is that a reality? As a female CEO, how do you ensure a good balance?"
I've heard a lot about this. Yes, I've heard a lot of people when I started business here. Oh, make sure you want to hire more women. Oh, women are difficult. Women don't work well together. All this stuff, all the catty behavior. I don't really. I think that's not true, to be honest. I think if you're someone who has gone to school and you're well behaved and you're well poised, and you're serious about your work, I don't think I've not met a lot of women like that. I have met one or two. Don't get me wrong, who fly the flag for that stereotype, but I've mostly met women who are very hardworking, very serious. Women can be emotional, don't get me wrong, but I think that's positive because they're able to be honest about things. And, I think in my experience, I've not really had a lot of difficult women to work with. Fortunately, I have had some, don't get me wrong, but the way I deal with it is I believe in positive energy and a positive environment. So if I have a bad apple and I put it amongst the rest of the apples, everything's going to go rotten. So if I find that someone is poisonous in that way, or not positive, let me put it that way, I would remove them immediately. I don't waste time on those things because negative energy is not allowed anywhere near what we do. So if I feel that person's gone. That's how I deal with it. Sorry.
Esina Matipo says that what's the most enjoyable part throughout your journey as an entrepreneur?
Um, Again, when I was growing up, I never wanted to work in an office or any. It's not my thing. I'm a very extroverted person. I like to be around people. I like to go outside. I like to do different things every day. And the best part of my job is that I have a different thing to do every single day. I run multiple businesses, and it's exciting to have a different schedule for every single day, different fun things to do. That's the best part of my job. And also all the great things that we're doing for these young girls in the villages. When I see that what we're doing is empowering other women, it makes my whole world. So at least I feel like what I'm doing every day is making an impact, and it's for a reason. You have to leave your mark on this world. And I believe that our lives are the probabilities of us being here is so tiny that the fact that you're here and you're in this world and you're able to, impact on other people, I think that's what drives me every day. So I'm so glad that I'm able to, bring positivity to other women and, and help them to feel empowered and to push forward in their lives. And, making a difference is everything. So that's the best part of my job.
All right. So let's look at partnership and collaboration. A lot of the time we think that going solo is the way. It's my business. I did this all by myself. I put my money in. I put my energy, my sweat into business. What do you think, or how can we leverage on collaboration? And what do you think should be the role of interagency partnerships that can help us to grow business? So, say between government, private sector, NGOs, academia, to support women-led SMEs. Is that an important route to consider?
So I think that a lot of the issues that are affecting us today, a lot of it can be dealt with from childhood when it comes to women. So there are brilliant young girls, sorry, all around the country who don't have the opportunity to get a good education because of something as tiny as getting a sanitary pad at that time of the month, and they're missing school. Like I was saying earlier, I think, partnerships with NGOs like with the Florence Mentor Foundation that we've done, a company like yourselves, a bank like yourselves can join with us and, stand behind us as we promote inclusivity for these young girls as well, because they also need to be nurtured from a young age to go to school to get a great education. And they are our leaders, possible leaders of tomorrow. So I think we need to start there. If we can start there, tomorrow, you have to look at tomorrow when you're planning things. It's not just today. So I think if we're able to help these young girls to thrive in their education, that alone in 10, 20 years, imagine what the country would be like if we're able to join forces. Instead of 1,000 girls that we're doing, we could do 1 million girls. Can you imagine what that would do for the country in 10 years' time? What that would do for inclusion in 10 years' time? So I think we have to start there, and partnering with NGOs to help women and children, the young girl child, is very, very important to us. So I think if we're able to do that, more of that, it would help us a lot.
Okay. So are there existing initiatives that you are aware of or partnerships that you know that have successfully supported women entrepreneurs, and how can these initiatives be expanded or replicated in other spheres?
I know that in the West they do a lot of things like that. There's certain funding that is available from the government to encourage these kind of things. So they, again, like I said, there are certain tax breaks certain tax breaks that can be implemented, and certain loans that can be given out to young women who are trying to encourage them to start small businesses. So I think something like that will help if we're able to do that. Or even, at the foundation, at the Florence Men's Foundation, we could also get funding for exactly this. So even getting women to, learn a skill, getting women to start a small business, getting funding for maybe 50 women. We start small again. If we're able to join forces with the NGO and raise money for that, that's a start. From there, obviously, they will also employ more women, and then it goes on. It's a chain. So I think you start somewhere and then it grows. So I think if we're able to do that, those collaborations, it would really, really help.
All right. So international organizations, there are several of them available around. We're doing this thanks to the partnership of the UNDP Ghana office. Catherine, Praise, and the team, big ups to you for supporting us to do this. But what do you think are the role of international organizations and donor agencies in supporting inclusivity and empowering women to grow more in the entrepreneurial space in Ghana?
Sorry, can you repeat that? You cut out for a second.
So I'm looking at the role of international organizations and these donor partners that we work with in Ghana. What roles do you think they play in supporting the gender inclusivity agenda and women empowerment in the SME sector in Ghana?
Well, I hope that what they're doing is helping. But I think more of anything that you're doing is always positive. So I think if they can make more noise about it, get more support from governments, get more support from even everybody in neighborhoods and districts. There are lots of wealthy people in every district. Make more noise about it and actually show them implementing these things that they're doing. I think that will help to garner more support from everybody.
Okay, so we're still live on the UBA Ghana Business Series. We invite you to drop your comments and questions, and we will acknowledge them. And Rebecca will respond to them. Belinda, I see you online. Thanks for the lab. Now, let me take advantage to also announce at this point that the entries for the Tony Elumelu Foundation is still on. You have the opportunity or stand the chance of winning $5,000 for your small business, and therefore the application is on until the 31st of March. Please drop in your application, and you could win something for yourself there. Now, according to statistics, again, Rebecca, that many women-led SMEs that start do not survive the full haul. Why is that so?
I think the main thing would be funding, I'm sure, and the funding is an issue. I think I was told once that 9 out of 10 businesses fail due to funding, because you get to a point in every business where you'll spend everything you have and you need more to get to the next level or to continue. And when that's not available, of course, the business will fail. But if you have more training and more information available online or with institutions or anywhere you can find it, more training about business would help. So maybe seminars should be held about how to run your business in detail, depending on the field, so that people will learn how to maybe budget more or deal with their finances when it comes to business, or how to avoid certain mistakes as well. That will help for them to survive a bit longer.
How do you think women can leverage on technology to expand their business? Being mindful of the fact that in the last week or so, we've had a lot of issues. We've had some challenges this morning trying to connect, and but you still made it here. What's the role of technology in helping to drive women-led businesses?
I have to say, I grew up at a time when there there's not much internet. So I was resisting. I was one of the generations where I was resisting this online social media, this kind of thing. But actually, I have to say that is the way to go. And people, women should utilize it as much as they can, because it does give you more brand awareness. It gives you, you'll be able to reach more customers. You'll be able to tell your own story. You'll be able to, you know, uh, communicate well to your audience what you're trying to do. So I think every woman, as much as possible, whatever you can, try your best to learn how to brand yourself well, or in terms of your products or your service. Learn how you should appear on social media. Online, there is so much that you can learn from YouTube and all those things. I think you should get well versed with all these things online on YouTube, and learn how to use social media, learn how to represent yourself and your company online. It's very important, because if you use it in the wrong way as well, it will be very detrimental to your business. So learn how to use the online services and social media. It's very, very, very key to your business.
I've got a long one, a rather long one from Kenneth Aidan, who's taking us to sustainability class and asking, we've heard and seen stories of women being the hardest hit when it comes to climate change and its impact, especially in the global south. Case in point, for the girl child in the northern region, when climate change increases their workload, such as drought causing them to go long distances to get water and limits their access to resources, they may have they may have less time for education and skills building and development opportunities, which can perpetuate cycles of poverty and inequity. My question is, how can we question is truncated. I'll get it, but I'm sure you get his point where these challenges impact the women. How do we then, in the midst of those difficulties, help to grow women from those less privileged areas?
Apart from NGOs or government helping to make sure that those areas are taken care of when it comes to water supply and things like that, climate change is a difficult one, because we're all contributing to what's happening. But I think NGOs and governments can at least try to gather some sort of funding to look at these rural areas to see how best we can help these situations, because it's difficult. It's difficult. This is one that is difficult. But I think without those, it would be very difficult. So I think we should encourage more and more NGOs to look at things like that. And maybe we can think about supplying water to these areas, especially at those times of the year.
Okay. Amelia comes back with a question to say that, what do you think are the important values to keep women-led SMEs as going concerns? What values should drive women-led SMEs?
Well, because I think a lot of women have a lot to contribute to our country, and we should think about it, because again, like I said, we are people. We're not just females. We are people. We have a lot to contribute. So I think that I've met a lot of men and women in my company, for example, and I've met some really brilliant women. Some of the best employees I have are women. So, and then I've heard a lot of CEOs also say the same thing, that they have hired. Now there are more women who are CEOs and things like that. So I think, based on even just this, people should encourage this, because it's only gonna contribute greatly to our GDP and all those things. So I think we should definitely still be pushing to make sure that this is a very important thing that we need to do, to push the female-led SMEs. So I think we should all contribute and try our best to any way we can to do so. But I think even having a platform like this is helping people to be aware of these things. So maybe another employer who's here might think, okay, maybe I'll hire some more women as well. All these little things contribute to this.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it, or you're hearing it from Rebecca Osam, who is the founder and CEO of Reflow Company Limited. We're talking about promoting gender inclusivity and empowering women-led SMEs, women-owned or women-led SMEs in Ghana. We've been discussing this for the last hour or so. if there are a few more questions coming, I'll take them. But I would like to say a big thank you to our partners, the UNDP Ghana office, for joining hands with us to do this. They are reaching a lot of businesses or small businesses in Ghana areas and offering training and capacity building and development for women-led SMEs and other small businesses across the country with their interventions, some of which Rebecca has alluded to on this session. So, Rebecca, what would be your takeaway point for any woman who is either in business or thinking of going into business, starting her own small business? What would be your takeaway points for that woman?
I would say to that woman that have a clear vision and idea of what you want to do, and don't give up on that ever. Make sure you plan as much as you can in all aspects when it comes to funding, who you hire, how many products to buy, how the service should be, and try to always deliver your best to yourself, your workers, and also your customers. You need to always think about giving your absolute best. Don't money or profit. Customer service is important. How your customer feels when they come to purchase or use your service is important. So focus on all those things, and that is what will bring your customers back around. So just look into the details and focus on the detail. The details really matter. So even when it comes to funding or service, details matter, and never ever give up. Find a way always. Never give up, and stay focused on the end goal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. We would like to say a very big thank you to Uzo Chinamoloko, MDCO, for as always giving us a support in doing this. Thanks to Peter Derry and Evans Salah from the business team, retail, SME, and head of retail for partnering with us to do this. Our producers, Edward and Vakel and Linda, for putting this together for us. Well, I also say a big thank you to our graphics team who put together the creatives that we used to communicate this. We are grateful that you could join us this morning. Watch this space. We are bringing you more exciting content on the UBA Ghana Business Series, and the future is bright. Go out there, delight somebody today, give somebody a good experience, and let them come back to you wanting more. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a wonderful day.
Bye.